investigators that Williams was connected to criminal activity. But if prosecutors thought they were going to have pretty solid evidence in the form of Copeland's testimony, or it was going to be smooth sailing, they were disappointed. Why do I say that? Well, Copeland, who also goes by the nickname Woody or Lil Woody, was very uncooperative from the beginning. Before he was even called to the stand on Friday, June 7th, his attorney announced to the court that he didn't want to be there and he didn't want to testify.
So, Your Honor, Mr. Copeland is here. I can state as his attorney that he intends to exercise his Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination. He does not wish to testify in this trial. And I would ask, there is no other, he's not on bond, he's not on probation, there's nothing like that. I would ask that he be allowed to leave this courtroom without